Auschwitz, a name synonymous with horror and the Holocaust. It was the Nazi death camp in Poland where some 1 million Jews and tens of thousands of others were killed during the Second World War. This was the largest documented mass murder site in human history and a symbol of the borderless manifestation of hatred and human barbarity. Now, for the first time, 74 years after its liberation, a traveling exhibition dedicated to the historical significance of the concentration camp will be presented to an American audience. This groundbreaking exhibition, titled Auschwitz, Not Long Ago, Not Far Away, will bring together more than 700 original objects from the former death camp and arrives this May in New York City at the Museum of Jewish Heritage, a living memorial to the Holocaust. Here to talk about the exhibition and its importance are New York City real estate developer and chairman of the museum's Board of Trustees, Bruce Ratner, and Dr. Ruth Westheimer, the renowned sex and relationship therapist who had her own tragic losses due to the Holocaust. It's so nice to have you here to talk about this. Dr. Ruth, it's good to see you again, as always, and Bruce, you also.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the origin of this exhibition. Bruce, how did it get put together?
About 5 or 6 years ago, the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum, which is the actual place where Auschwitz is, and a Spanish company called Musealia came up with the idea of taking objects from the actual Auschwitz-Birkenau location museum and putting together a massive exhibition, really to show people what happened not far away, not long ago. And the idea was to try and give people a sense of what it was really like for very important reasons. Reasons relating to history and learning, and really the idea that people have to learn what happened so it does not happen again.
I'm going to come back to you about some of the details, but Dr. Ruth, this is very personal to you.
Okay.
Tell us about your own family's history and losses in the Holocaust.
So, first of all, I would like to add to my friend Bruce what this exhibit does. I am very happy that you are really the forerunner of saying we have to have it, and I'm supporting you. Because first of all, so that the deniers of the Holocaust will shut up and not be able to say anymore it never happened.
And we've seen a resurgence of the deniers.
And then there's something else that worries me very much. There are some people who say, who have Holocaust fatigue, who say, don't talk about it anymore, we have heard already enough. So one of the reasons that I'm very grateful to Bruce and the people on the board who are bringing this very expensive exhibit to New York, and like what you said before and others, we have to say there were homosexuals who were killed, there were people with disability who were killed, there were gypsies who were killed, and in my particular case, this is like a grave for my entire family who don't have graves. And we need everybody, Jack, you have to say anybody, to come to the museum to see that exhibit.
Dr. Ruth is right. This is something that people really have to see.
I saw that you yourself had planned a certain period of time, and then you were there for hours.
Yes.
Having a sense of what it was about, what was it that so gripped you, that caused you to stay for so long, and then to say, we have to bring this here?
Well, there were so many things. First of all, my family lost over 40 relatives in Auschwitz, actually. So I had a certain personal, I didn't know the people, obviously, but so I had a certain personal connection. But even if I hadn't had a personal connection, to see what human beings can do to other human beings is an inexplicable experience to watch that and see that. And you see it in real time in the sense that there are objects there, a little child's shoe with a sock still in it. That child was taken to the gas chambers, and you see the little shoe with the sock still hanging. You see the barbed wire and the concrete poles. And when you realize that this was done by a government, this was not a terrorist act.
This was institutionalized murder.
This was institutionalized and automated and done in such an efficient way. People they got off a train and 90% of them were taken directly to gas chambers, thinking they were going to the shower. So you see the shower head actually. So there's an impact that you really can't describe when you go through this exhibit by actually seeing real objects that happened.
Yeah. You had survived this because your family sent you. You've described yourself as a Holocaust orphan?
I subscribe. I say about myself that I'm an orphan of the Holocaust because I was sent to Switzerland into a children's home that became an orphanage. But what is so important that we have to say, look, the world kept quiet. It's not that they didn't know. They knew, but they didn't do a thing. And we have to say, as an educator, we have to say, make sure that something like this will never, ever happen again. And I have to tell you, I don't talk politics, but when I see children being separated from their parents, that makes me stand up to be counted. Hold it. We have to be sure that things, atrocities like this, don't come again.
The Museum of Jewish Heritage has been in place for a couple of decades.
Yes.
Tell me how this is going to work now, bringing the exhibit here, because the museum has done marvelous work. How will it work, literally bringing
Before
the
you
new
talk
one in?
about that, then you'll answer. The museum, Jack.
Who's in charge of this conversation, by the way?
Dr.
Bruce,
Ruth always.
you and I decided
Dr.
from the
Ruth
beginning. We were
always.
along with Dr. Ruth for the
Dr.
ride.
Dr.
The
Ruth
museum, Jack,
yeah.
from the boardroom and from many of the other rooms.
I was going to ask you about this, what
and
you can see.
they just had my 90th birthday at the museum. Guess what? We see the Statue of Liberty.
Why is that so important? Because I've
Very
heard you
important.
quoted about that. Why is it so
When I
important
came
for you to be
this
able to see
country,
that?
I came fourth class on a visit, fourth class in a ship, and I stayed up the whole night to watch the Statue of Liberty. I did not know that I would be Dr. Ruth, that I would be Bruce Ratner's friend, that I would be on the board of the museum, where every window looks to that Statue of Liberty. That's what we will have to do in the education to the children by immediately saying, look at that statue, learn Emma Lazarus' words, and look at that statue. That's what we are working for.
Let's learn
You said
the
it so
meaning
well.
of that symbolism.
And Dr. Ruth is a symbol for all of us, really, in terms of what it is to go through a life of difficulty, where at 10 years old, separated from her parents die, and then she goes on to go then to Israel and actually was a sniper actually, and then goes to Paris, then comes here and starts a whole new career. Really a remarkable testament to strength and stamina, and really that's why it's always my honor to be with Dr. Ruth, I will tell you that.
May 8th, it begins.
May
I'll
8th
give folks
it is,
and
my goodness.
running through January. Bruce, always a pleasure chatting with you.
My
and
pleasure.
Dr.
Thank you
Ruth,
for
it's good
having
to
us.
see you again. Thank you both so much for
We'll see you
spending
there.
some time. Absolutely.
We have a date.
We have a date, you and I together. We'll let this guy come along.
Let me
too.
come along. It's
All
okay.
right, good. Thank you
I'll be
both.
through.
A reminder, the exhibition titled Auschwitz, Not Long Ago, Not Far Away, will be opening at the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York City on May 8th and run through January 3rd, 2020. For more information, log on to metrofocus.org.